Hi, this is Christa at the Secret Yarnery. Welcome to our crochet podcast, episode 76. I totally did it. I'm just saying. A whole ton of blankets to share with you today. This is actually the first podcast of 2021. Can you imagine? Been so busy crocheting, and I can't wait to share all the yummy, delicious blankets I have made, and even some whips that I have going on. So I'm excited about all of it, and I can't wait to share it with you. If you're new to this channel, it's all about crochet and crochet-related goodness. There's podcasts, live chats, tutorials, right-handed, left-handed, and a ton of yarn reviews and deliciousness, usually all about ice yarns. So if any of that is of interest to you, consider hitting that subscribe button down below and the notification bell beside that so you don't miss out on any of the fun. So jumping right into finished objects. So excited. Okay, I'm gonna do it chronological. Okay, so this is gonna be literally what I did first. I love it. This is the Berry Biscuit, and the Berry Biscuit baby blanket with gumdrop border. How cute is that? I love it. I love it so much. So this is already a tutorial up on the channel. This year I am doing the borders separate from the blanket. So there will be a tutorial for the blanket and a separate tutorial for the border. And that way you can mix and match whatever border you want to put on whatever blanket and not be stressed out of like, oh, that is the border that goes with this blanket. You can kind of mix and match and do whoever you like. So this is a baby blanket size. I make my baby blankets a little larger just so they can be used by myself for like a lap gown, or if you're watching TV, you can kind of throw it over your feet. So that's why they're so handy and great. And this is also part of our Secret Stitches Cal 2021. So just to explain a bit of that, in case you haven't joined us or are not really sure what it is, we are doing a new stitch, which is a new blanket, a new border, and a new square. I would want to say once a month, but I do not want to be finishing it in January. So we are doing it about once every 4 weeks, and that leaves us ready to join our 4 squares. I'll get to the 4 squares in the end of November, very beginning of December. So we're cleared up and ready to start the new year 2022 fresh. So this will literally be self-contained within 2021. So your choices are to make the baby blanket. Every month there'll be a new blanket, not necessarily baby, but you know, whatever size you want to do. There will be a blanket tutorial. Then I will also be doing the same stitch, which of course I have upstairs. That's the luck of it. And I'll also be doing that stitch into just a square. It's not quite a square, it's a bit of a rectangle. And you could just follow that along. And we're going to be doing 12 squares. They're about, say, I don't know, 12 inches wide by 14 inches tall, something like that. And we'll be joining those up in a very relaxed manner at the end of the year to form this gorgeous blanket. So those are all options for the crochet along. And if you don't know, Cal means crochet along. So this was the first one. And there is tutorials for all of this on the channel already, including the square if you just want to make the square. Should I show you the stitch? I should. Okay, so that is the Berry Biscuit baby blanket. That was the first one. That was the first blanket of the Cal, the crochet along. So that's a favorite. So many people have made it in like mature, like adult colors, or really big, like for like your own bed. Oh, it's so they look amazing. So I'm really proud of everyone who has done that and shared those pictures. Speaking of which, you can find me over on Instagram at Secret Yarnery, or also Facebook, The Secret Yarnery, and that's where you can kind of show me your yarn that you're using and how your project is turning out. Love to hear from you over there. Second blanket. This is the second stitch of the Cal, and this is the Pin Curl Granny. Just trying to hold it up the right way. The Pin Curl Granny in, oh, that was the wrong way, wasn't it? Okay, wait. There we go. So this is the pin curl granny. It has a really lovely texture, and this border, I mean, that's everything. So this is the loops and bridges border, the lacy loops and bridges border. And I love it. It ties all the colors together so nicely. But I've also seen this done in a solid color and then just white for all of the border, and that looked divine also. So lots of possibilities for this blanket. I made mine big. I used 6 skeins. Let me show you behind. Can you see how big that one is? So cute. I guess I could hold it that way. So totally usable for like watching TV or cuddling up. That's my take on a baby blanket. A bit practical for my lifestyle. So that is the pin curl granny with lacy loops and bridges border. Right-handed, left-handed, and the square are up on my channel already. That's part 1 of the cal and part 2 of the cal. Now part 3 is coming out next week. So excited. Is it next week? Sometime by around the 20th. I don't know, I'll have to check the days. But it's coming out soon. Right, now I need a name for the stitch. You can also help me come up with a name for this one. But this is with Puzzle Baby. Trying to find the right way around to show you. Look at that. Can you see all that gloriousness in there? I love it. So this is Puzzle Baby, and it is like little mini shells. This is the back side. That is the back side. Hope you can see it. And this is the front side. How cute, right? It's like little tiny rows. It reminds me of like a little manicure, like little fingernails all do, like if you put polish on them. So cute. I will show you again so you can know how crazy I am. Right? A million times cute. And all the colors in that Puzzle Baby are crazy. So I did this with a 5mm crochet hook and Puzzle Baby, which they say is a 2-weight, but I used a 5mm hook. So if you could manage a 5mm hook, don't worry about Puzzle Baby being too skinny. Love it. And then the border for this, I also need a name for it, but it's pretty much just repeating. Can you see that in there? It is repeating the shells along the outside. Now, the debate is, let me find you a brighter corner to show you. I do not know if I should have the Puzzle Baby on the outside row of this border, or if I should just leave it white and maybe do 2 or 3 rows just of white shells for the edge. What is your opinion about that? Because, I don't know, sometimes I think the border should just be white because there's so much color in the blanket itself. But then part of me is like, look at that border. It is so cute. So what is your opinion about that? I would love to hear your ideas of what you would do with that border, because see how the color does change as you go around. So here it's like green and it goes to blue. I mean, it's super cute, but should it just be white on the edge? I don't know. I haven't finished it off yet. I'm going to film that little bit, but now I'm not sure. I was going to rip it all out and do white. I'm like, it has to be white. I know it has to be white. And then my kids were like, no, you can't. What are you doing? It has to be colored. I'm like, what? I put it up on Instagram, like a poll over on Instagram, if it should all be white. And it started out being like 70%, yes, it should be white. And now it's down to 50-50. Actually, let me check. Let me see if it's updated. Probably. Let me see. That is the great thing about stories over on Instagram, let me tell you. Yeah. 51-49. So there you have it. It's right down the middle. So I still don't know what I'm going to do about it. I keep sleeping on it and being like, I'll know in the morning. I don't know in the morning. I'm still like, what? It could go either way. So I love that. Like, I love this blanket a lot. And this is going to be the next stitch. This is going to be part 3. So you could either, I made this blanket big. I'm going to tell you that. I used 2 packs of Puzzle Baby. So 4 skeins, they're 200 grams each. So 800 grams of a size 2 and I'll show you how big this one is. But I love it. I wanted it for my bed. Of course I did. Everything great is for my bed. So maybe it's like twin size, but that is a lot of 2-weight yarn, I'll tell you that much. But I do love it. So those are my finished blankets as of right now. Minus, of course, I have to sew in that tail once I decide on the border. Let me know about the border. And now we're moving on to whips. What? Excited. So in the blanket theme, or should we do chronological? Okay, let's do chronological. We did chronological for the blankets. Now we'll do chronological for the whips. First whip. I started this one around Christmas. If you saw my ice yarn unboxing, I forget which one it was, but you know, one of them, I did purchase this can mohair to make a cute little blanket or 2 little blankets for my mother-in-law. Thought it'd be so cute and festive for her living room. So I thought I was going to do it in the Speedy Granny Ruth stitch like that. And then I was like, that is so drab. Can you see how drab that is? Like nothing is great. It's like, oh, like it's just not great. So I was like, maybe I have to put in some white to freshen it up. And then I was like, yeah, I have to put in the white just to crisp it, just to give it like, you know, a little smack, a little vinegar. So, but I don't have any fancy mohair in white. So I just put in a row of Savor. And then I'm like, I mean, it's still cute. Anyway, I stopped, obviously. But yeah, anyway. Long and short, I ordered some white mohair from Ice Yarns. It'll be coming in a couple weeks. So I'm going to take this all apart or start again, I'm not sure. And put in, actually I'm going to start again because I have a totally new plan for how I'm going to do it. Like actually a pattern for it. In my head when I started, I was going to be doing like just different widths of color. I want most of the blanket to be orange, but then maybe like 2 rows of blue, maybe 1 row of gray, 2 rows of gray, like just mix it up. But then to keep it mostly orange, what I've decided to do after I started working on it is I'm literally going to put a row of orange in between every other row. So half of it is going to be orange. And then it'll be either white, gray, or blue for the alternate row. So every other row is going to be orange, and then the other colors are going to mix however I get around to it. I'm not sure. So I probably will be starting this again. Maybe this will be a scarf or something eventually. The good thing about the Speedy Granny Ruth, no ends to sew in. So nice tassels on the end. And won't they be cute? Let me turn that down again. Won't they be cute in mohair, right? How like luxurious. So I'm really looking forward to that. But now I'm happy that I found some white. It's not white, it's a crew something. It's a mohair blend, mohair acrylic. Is it mohair acrylic and wool blend that in a crew? So that's the whitest that I could get that's available. So that will be coming in a couple weeks, and then I can work on this. I'm just working on it whenever, well, I was working on it whenever I had like time or just watching TV and didn't want to really think about too much. So that one got shelved while I was humming and hawing. So your opinion, white? Does it need the white? And if so, would you just keep going with the acrylic or would you have ordered? I got the yarn on sale, 87 cents per ball. So I think that's a pretty good deal. Of course, there's shipping on top of that, but that's how life is. So that is one whip I was working on kind of over the holidays, January, and that got shelved. So that's on hold. Then I was looking on, hold on, maybe I could show you. It would be in my photos. So if I see something great that I want to use in the future, I will literally snap a picture of it and then I'll just scroll through my phone to find it later. I saw this picture. Can you see that? what I want is this ball there. I'm like, a round ottoman would be so fabulous. And then I'm like, how am I going to stitch it? I'm like, I have enough hollow fiber. And then I'm like, if you sew it, like there's going to be seams. How do I get it in? How do I close? Like, ugh. And I was like, what if I use an exercise ball? Anyway, I go back to this lady. I found her on Instagram. I'll put a link to her Instagram down below. Beautiful stuff. And all nice bright colors. Like, I just love it. And then turns out she actually used an exercise ball too. Because in my head, I'm like, you could deflate it, just leave one hexagon off, like fold up your deflated exercise ball, put it inside, puff it up inside, and just stitch one hexagon to close it all together. Turns out she had the same idea. I was like, great idea. How did she do hers anyway? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, similar. So she used regular hexagons. Love it. And I was like, okay, like my Heidi Bears kicks in. I'm like, I could do it with African flowers. And I've done some Heidi Bears patterns in the past, just for myself. It's a paid for pattern, so no tutorials for those. But if you're interested in Heidi Bears, she's a run Ravelry, Heidi, like the Swiss Alps, and Bears, like the animal. And she mixes, the great thing about her patterns is she mixes like the shapes, different shapes of African flowers to build whatever form she wants. So she'll use like a 8-petal flower, 5-petal, you know, whatever, to make the contours of her animals. So I was like, I could do that for the ball. So I start that. Let me see. So in my head, I was like, I know what to do. We'll start with a big flower, the 8-petal one, and then we'll put 6s all around it. Well, this turns into, it's opposite. It's like opposite of what you're supposed to do. No 8-petal. I mean, I love the colors, super great. And I just do these join as you go. So this was my first one. I sewed in my ends and everything. You'd be so proud of me. And yes, I have to literally cut it apart or figure out something else to do with it. Yeah. So fail. Then I'm like, I'll just do like hexagons, like 6-petal flowers everywhere. Like so. And it works for 3 rounds. For 3 rounds, it works perfectly great around the ball. And then I'm like, you have to kind of tighten it in. There's just too many petals down there. So I put in some 5s. Some 5-petal flowers. It's still wrong. It's still like there's still too many boxes down there. There's too many motifs for that shape. Now I have redone this 4 times, like literally taken it apart and redone it, which is, it's kind of difficult to stay motivated in that it's join as you go. So you're like literally, you know, your hardest part of your work is like, oh yeah, hold on, I'll do that again. And I'm leaving all my tails now. So if I do frog it back, okay, well, I'm also leaving my colored ones. Anyway, I'm doing my tails later just in case I have to take it all apart. Anyway, so then I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's going to be super cute and I totally want it. So this is going to be like just a big beach ball sitting over there on the ground. It's going to be great and fabulous. But I'm really tired of frogging it. So I look online to see if there's anybody who has like figured out the formula. And what formula is figured out is making like a soccer ball, which they take a pentagram, and then they put hexagons around it. So it starts with a 5, and then with 6 petals around it, and then they kind of keep doing that, basically, long and short. So I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could start with a 5. So that's what I'm going to do next. Once I'm done figuring out the next square, the next blanket for the cowl, I'm going to go back to this and take it all apart and put this cute one in the center. That's my center. I'll put a different center. Well, I'm going to take it all apart, but I'm going to build it again around a pentagon, a 5-leaf flower. So there'll only be 6. So then because it's like a lot of work and it's a bit like you're so excited to be so close and you literally, it works. You almost get half done this big ball, and then you're like, wrong, like you, so I'm like, so I went and actually cut out, I literally cut out the pentagons and hexagons, taped them on, minus, however they're not right now. Is this one flipped up? Yeah. Okay. Around the center 5. And then I'm just not sure. You can co-host for me. I'm not sure. I have to do 2 rows around, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to kind of use the soccer ball idea, but 2 rows around and then another pentagon and 2 rows, and just kind of see if I can build it out like that. Right? So I don't know. This gets halfway too, and then you're like, oh, is it going to be too much again? So it's either going to be 2 rows in between the pentagons. See, that's 2 rows of, anyway, complicated. So it's either going to be 2 rows or 3 rows, and I'm not going to know until I try and fail. So that's my crazy. So I saved that so I can show you my latest. I don't know what it is. Oh, well, I can show you this on top of it now that I don't need the paper. Hold on. Oop. You'll get the idea for how it's gonna be. See that? Look. Now we can just pretend it's done. Right? If I just hug it. See, it's not done anywhere. I'll be like, oh, look at my ball, if I just kind of hold it on top. But now, along the bottom, there's just too much. There's too many here. So there's too many, yeah. So I think I'm going to start with a 5, and that'll be 1 less all the way up here. I've done 5s on the 3rd row, and then that just makes it too wonky. So I'm not really sure. I'm going to give the hexagon, I'm going to give the soccer ball idea a go. And if and when that doesn't work out, I'm going to cry into my pillow and think of something else. If you have any ideas, or if you know a formula, my son come up, he's like, oh, it's this ratio it's a surface area ratio. So you just have to figure out the surface area of each motif that you're using, and then just do math, and you'll totally tell you what to do. I'm like, yeah, no. Okay, whatever you just said. Yeah, thanks for that. Anyway, this is the idea. That's what I'm going for. It's not happening yet, but it will. I'm confident. I know it can be done. I'm not Heidi Bears yet. Heidi. So that's on hold because I wanted to show it to you, and also just kind of encourage you. Like if you're doing a pattern or you're working on something and it's not working out, me too. It happens to all of us. So don't feel bad about it. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and sleep on it. Come up with another idea. So that's my fun project, because I just love working with all those super bright, like, ooh, colors. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And I have a bunch more. I've frogged all these back. If you don't know what frog is, it's rip it, like ribbit, ribbit. And these were all joined, so that's why I'm leaving them. They still have the yarn attached, and oh, it's a mess, but I guess it's a little motivational. At least they're done, right? Like at least they have some yarn on them and they're ready to go. So that is something I'm working on when I have an idea and some patience. And then I was like, ooh, I finished this blanket, I want to say yesterday. It might have been the day before. Yeah, day before, because I've been humming and hawing about that border for a whole day now. So I do love that blanket so much. And now I'm like, ooh, what about the next stitch? What are we going to do for the next one? So I was like, ooh, I want to do one like in the springtime in this gorgeous cotton yarn I have. This is Mona Lisa from Ice Yarns, and it is a gorgeous yarn. 100% cotton and soft as a baby. I would like to say this is very similar to like I Love This Cotton. Like it is really great. And all the bomb diggity colors. I'll put a link to this in the description box below. This colorway is currently sold out, but you can put a notification and get an email when it comes into stock, or you can pick another colorway, which they have a lot of really great colorways. And this is what I've started with. Love it so much. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I like to start my blankets on a row of like a normal row of stitches. So I did the chain and I was like, that looks kind of weak. So then I did single crochet into the chain and it was a bit too tight. I did about half of this and I was like, oh, it's too tight. There's a hair on it. Of course there is. So then I frogged all that back and did it with chainless foundation so that it wouldn't be too tight. That gives it the same stretch as the blanket. And then I was like, it looks weird. Because I do want to have a row of single crochet around the whole blanket, but if I start with a row of single crochet at the bottom, then it's just going to be wrong. I have to do the row of single crochet after, right? Because I'll end at the top. I can go down the one side, but then this is already finished. That side needs it. So I'm like, I just have to, anyway. That's another fail. It should be day of the fails. And this is also one ball. This is 50 grams. 50 grams of Mona Lisa. Gorgeous, 100% cotton. Love it. So I'm like, I'll leave that so I can show you again how many attempts it takes to do something. And not to feel bad if your projects don't always work out. Part of the process. So then I went back, started another one, same stitch count. I was happy with the stitch count finally, but just with the chain along the bottom. And this is 2 balls of Mona Lisa. So you get about 3.5 inches, 39 or 40 inches wide. So really like it. So this will be an upcoming stitch. And what would you be calling that stitch? Isn't it cute? It's like little diamonds. It's like, I don't know. I really like it. Super lacy, super light, super like, just so nice to like drape over a chair, have it on your patio. Cotton, so it's like perfect for the spring, summer weather. Great on the bottom of a guest bed. Like, it's just so cute. So I'm working on this. This is now my new love. It's a 3-row repeat, which you kind of mix up every, how many rows? I don't know, 4 rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's a 3-row repeat within 4 rows. So you do 1 row twice, but I'm really enjoying it. And another good thing about the pattern, loving it, is at the end of your row, you're working into the spaces. So you don't have to like poke about and work into a chain. You just like, oh yeah, there's the space, finish, turn. And it does straighten itself out as you go along. So loving the yarn. See those colors? It's literally like so pretty. So the yarn's great to work with. The colors are motivational. And the stitch is so lacy and springtime. So bam, that is my whip. I started that yesterday. I did, right? I love it. So really excited about that. And I also did, oh, that's upstairs too. I also started the square. So this will be square number 4 for the cowl. And it works out perfect. Because when I'm working on the cowl, lots of times, like I love this stitch and I'll be working on it, but I can't get the stitch count right to fit the size of our squares, the approximate size of our squares. So I was really happy when this one, with this one fit. Excited about that. So that's about it for finished objects and whips. Any other news of the week? Fish pond. Oh, the trials and tribulations of a fish pond. So I have borehole water, which is crystal clear, but salty. So put in a filter kind of in between the house, well, in between all the taps and garden hoses and the borehole. So in between the water and the borehole and the pump, put in this filter to take out all the salt and stuff. Apparently it's working. Who knew? And have some fish in the fish pond. That's doing great. Cleaned out the fish pond, everything else. I think the liner is cracked, has a hole in it. I don't know. Now it's like leaking more. It's actually leaking at the bottom. We cleaned it all out, got all the muck and yucky out of the bottom of it. And then it was like filling up with water again. I was like, you know, from the ground. So that was a little bit depressing. I have cute little plants floating in it. Plants around it are great. Everything's great. But now I'm like, I either have to put a new liner in, which are not the cheapest things in the world, or probably spend a bit more and do chicken wire and waterproof concrete and then seal it. Thank you, Marie, I Googled it. Seal it and then have that for the fish, like literally make a fish pond. So now it's rainy season, which shouldn't be, but it is raining here. So I have to wait for some dry weather and then literally cut the liner out and, you know, get a bunch of guys to concrete it in like really, really quick. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but I'm just enjoying the water feature and the little fish from the road. Apparently they're tilapia. I have tilapia in my fish pond, I'm pretty sure. I did Google Lens. Thank you, Michelle. All these tips from you guys, I love it. Google Lens is an app on your phone, and you can literally just you just open it and take a picture of something, and it tells you what it is. You're like, it can be a plant, a bird, a pipe, a tool, a pencil, like anything, and it's like, oh yeah, it's that. What? So yeah, I took a picture of the fish, and it came up tilapia. I was like, there's tilapia in my ditch outside my house? I guess so. I guess there is. So now there's tilapia in my fish pond, although let's see, and the water, so we're using it as a kind of like a waterfall feature for now with plants, and then there's fish in there somewhere. But the fish are small and the pond's big, so anyway, and there's no point getting any other fish until it's finished. So that is my outdoor project at the moment. I got some more trees yesterday to like fill in a bit of the garden and replace what my leopard tortoises like to just eat and consume. So funny. I have two big leopard tortoises that are out in my compound, and they'll be like walking and he'll be like freeze. And he'll be like, you're like, what are you doing eating my plant? He's like, it wasn't me. And he's like literally has like the whole stick, and he's like, He just like hunkers down and waits. He's like, like a guilty child, you know what I mean? With like chocolate pudding everywhere. That's what my leopard tortoise is like. So he's mullered a bunch of my plants, so we're replacing them with things that flower. I love flowers. So that's about all that's new over here. Same. Kids are back in school. They are doing online school, so that is really good. I found this really great school here where it's like one-on-one for 4.5 hours a day. What? 7 subjects, 6 different teachers, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, nope, not asking me a thing. They actually have a human like talking to them the whole day. So, well, no, not the whole day, 4.5 hours. Loving it. So that's actually really fun, and it's helping me not have excuses for getting my own things done. So I've been loving that a lot. So what's going on in your world, in your yarniness? Let me know everything in the comments down below. Love to catch up. And I think that's about it. I tried to check Amazon for deals. There isn't. There's some sales at Ice Yarn, but it's not yarn that I know. I did order Ice Yarns. Yes, it's coming in a couple weeks. Mostly just savor. I do want to plump up my middle row here. That is my 4 worsted weight, and I feel like there is some definite colors that are not as, I don't have as many options as I'd like. Plus some specialty yarns to finish that blanket. And also I did pick up some clearance yarn. Was it clearance yarn? No, clearance yarn got me there, and then I got yarn. It was 87 cents a ball, but kind of goes from thin to thick. I know there's a word for it. Thank you for telling me. And to make another Ruana poncho. I was leaving the house. It's like, I have a gray Ruana poncho, but I want like a black one, and I want like a blue one, because then you can pretty much leave the house anytime and be like, you have your 3 colors, gray, navy, and black. So I bought yarn. Not much, maybe $20 for enough yarn to make 2 ponchos. So I'm into that. Big hook, cool yarn, just to cover the shoulders. So that will be coming too. I'm excited about it. Mailbox, yes I do know, mailbox. Got a phone call from the post office. They're like, Christa, da-da-da-da-da, there's a parcel for you, da-da-da. I was like, what? Anyway, I went, and guess what it is? You're not gonna guess. It is a pack of ice yarn, like one of those plastic bag packs of ice yarn from a year ago that arrived. Thank you, so excited. I emailed Ice Yarns. I was like, oh, look what came today. And they was like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm serious, right? So I have no idea what's in there, but because who knows where it has been. Let's imagine where it's been for a year. It's sitting for a couple days. I'm not touching it. So on Friday, I think that I can open that, Friday or Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to finding out what's in there. Also, some Christmas cards arrived And so there's still a big gap from before and a gap after, but there's hope that mail's coming through. So if you sent me something and I haven't received it, there is hope. It is starting to finally come into my mailbox. So anyway, that's it, officially, all my news. So thanks so much for inviting me over and hanging out. I cannot wait to chat with you on Friday if you want to join our live chat. If not, I would love to hang out in the next video. Have a super great day and stay hooked. I did make talking notes. I did, honestly, and then I don't know where they are. They're right here. I really could dig for them, but then I'm gonna feel like I didn't say all these things and then I'll feel bad about it. So I'm not even gonna look. I know. I have to get a book. I'm gonna get a book and I'll put it all in a book and then be like, do, 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 do. It's easier to find a book than a piece of paper, right? I think that's where I'm going wrong. Anyway.